And with that, we are live. Wednesday, light 'em up time. Welcome back, one and all. Welcome to another episode of the Light 'em Up Lounge. Tonight with a driving guest, at least for now. I'm welcoming Eddie Tarazona from Tarazona Cigars here with us for a very special show and a very special interview. So I'm delighted to have Eddie joining us. He is just about to hit a cigar shop and lounge, and he will take us through and do a little tour before he settles down and grabs a cigar. But Eddie, thank you for joining us. What a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. Even like this, I'm sure this is probably, a rarity, but that's okay.
It's certainly a first, Eddie. I have to confess, it's the first time that we have a driving guest, at least for the opening of the show. But thanks for
And I am
taking the
honored.
time, and thanks for being here with us. Before you let us know, whilst you're actually in the car and whilst you're still driving, I would love to let everybody know, if you're here at the lounge with us, please post all your questions into the chat box and forward all your questions to Eddie. And if you're watching over on Facebook, we're delighted to have you. And please make sure that you put your questions underneath the live stream into the comments. So without further ado, Eddie, over to you. Whereabouts are you?
So I am I'm in the Norfolk, Virginia area. So Norfolk, Portsmouth, Newport News, really well, at least for in the States, this is where a lot of the ships are made. So this is old harbor town, since I guess really one of the found in the New World. It's a really beautiful area, very colonial. The colonial structure is still here. I just left downtown Portsmouth. You want to talk about walking through time? It's just, it's very charming, very nice, and very quaint. So right now I'm on my way to Suffolk, Virginia. I guess it's on one of the nets that comes if anybody has access to a map on their phone. I'm on Bridge Road, heading towards Suffolk. But it's a beautiful area. Virginia is a beautiful state and just a gorgeous state. I used to live here for about 24 years.
Now, the cool thing is, Eddie, it's a little bit of a sneak into a cigar manufacturer and brand owner's life. So it's like you're taking us on tour with you, and thus I'm glad to share a bit of a different insight into your everyday life, being on the road. But yeah, like give us a little bit of background story on how these things actually come to life, and is this what your normal day looks like on the road representing the brand?
No, my wife would kill me. But no. So okay, so at the show, we'll go back to the show. Let's start with the last event I have for the week with Lean In House Cigars. That's with Dave Puskovich. I've known Dave now, wow, probably a little bit over 10 years. He and I normally do an event once or twice a year. This year we're doing it for the commemoration of 9/11, but also we're doing a bike ride and Jeep ride. So bikes and Jeeps are taking this ride to a particular memorial for 9/11. And so, of course, that's a little bit special. But so we had that in the books. I was going to be up here. So I called up OSI Tobacco because Isam's always wanting to do something. And he always wants me there. So I said, hey, look, here's your chance. You got to take it or you leave it. Because it's roughly about 2 hours from Canton, Ohio to Belle Vernon, Pennsylvania. But on this trip, because I know I wanted to take the Jeep and go Jeep because I'm going to be going through mountains and all that. I called up North Suffolk, Bob Stevens. I said, hey, look, I'm putting my Jeep on the auto train. Okay, let's do a nice little intimate cut and light. Nothing big, just cut and light to meet your customers. They're very, very big supporters of ours here in the Hampton Roads area. This area would be called the Hampton Roads, Newport News, whatever. And he goes, sure. So we did that last week. Then I start planning. I think I love planning for travel because you have to make it efficient, economical, but you really got There's a schedule you got to keep. The downside is you get to you've been to the show, you travel, you go somewhere and you want to learn more about it. You're like, wow, this is so cool. So I'm not just learning about the shop, I'm learning about their community. This really is this industry for me. For me, I can't speak for anybody else, but I'm sure I speak on behalf of many folks in our industry. Community. This here, it really is a community. So I spend time in their town. I mean, look at right now. I'm passing by. I don't know what body of water it is. It's beautiful. I know on the weekends they're taking their boats, they're kicking it, they're having a good time. This past Labor Day, I bet you that river or whatever it is was packed. I'd like to experience that with them, with my customers, my friends. Get a few drinks, folks. I mean, and you're out here in the country too. Well, right now it's country. Okay, it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if I wish I could turn the phone around. You guys could see what I'm going over. I'm going under the Nansemond River. Now, most people in the U.S. probably do not know what the Nansemond River is, but if you were to see this river, it's huge. I mean, it is huge. And there's a house in the middle of the river. We're the boats. This river is just ginormous. It's beautiful. For those of y'all out there that don't know me, I'm full of life. I love life. I love whether, I'm not saying I like going through bad things. You go through bad things, you learn. I enjoy that. Life is just, for me, a bunch of choices, decisions, consequences, and how you react to them. That's it. And you make the best of it. So me seeing all this is beautiful.
That's beautiful to hear. That's absolutely amazing. Well, Eddie, let's start at the beginning and give us a little bit about the background story of Eddie Tarazona and how you actually ended up in this wonderful cigar world, because you started the brand in 2002, if I remember correctly.
Yes, sir.
But there was a whole plethora of previous experiences. You working in a different industry, and you actually had a great job right off college. How did that all come together and ultimately lead you to setting foot in the cigar industry and making this the journey of a lifetime?
Okay, well, to start, it started before college. My brother's 4 years older than me, and he would go to the cigar factories down there in Miami and order his cigars. He wouldn't, I guess at the time, he really wasn't buying a brand. He would go down to the factories on 8th Street and buy cigars. He started taking me with him, and one day we went to a place called South Beach Cigars. Okay. And I ended up meeting the roller there. When we were leaving, I shook his hand. Shaking his hand, his grip was very hard, very firm. He looked very worn, little old Cuban guy. I don't know, something about meeting this man and the experience left a mark in me, a big impression. And I said to myself, now, ever since I was 12 years old, I always wanted to either go to law school or coach American football. That was it. I wanted to be a coach, a trainer. But when I met him, I said, okay, maybe I could come out with my own brand one day. How do you do that, right? I'm just 15 years old, but life goes on. I go to college, come up to Virginia for college. I ended up getting married. Of course, Kim with Logan, the whole bit. When I finished college, I got a wonderful job with Ferguson Enterprises, making, I think it was about $85,000 plus benefits and all. That was great. And back then, that's now 20 years ago this year. Okay, roughly. But the recession happened, 9/11 happened. They started laying off their management trainee recruits from colleges and all. I didn't want to go back to school. Coaching football, I was going to starve because it's all about who you know. In sports, when you're moving up that level, it's also about who you know. And I wasn't back home in Miami, where I knew a lot of coaches and friends. I was in Virginia, so I was going to starve. And I said, I'm going to start my own cigar company. So for those that don't know, Ferguson Enterprises, you might know them better as Wolseley, okay, out of the UK, the big plum and HVAC company, multinational company. So that's who I was working for, a powerhouse. They recruited me. Now, believe it or not, their headquarters are right here, U.S. American headquarters, right here in Norfolk, Virginia. So, but anyway, they gave me an 8-month severance package, my vacation, and then 2 weeks to decide. So I really had 9 months of pay on them. And I put it all in this. I put all that, and I'm like, I'm going to learn. And I started going back home. And that's really when it started, the part-time Virginia, Miami, every few weeks. And that was it. And here I am today. There were times it was tough. You want to bow because it's hard. It's hard work. It's hard work. It's fun, but it's hard work. But you learn how to persevere, kick ass. I can't quit. My parents didn't raise a quitter. Okay. You know, I grew up in inner city Miami. It was tough, but you don't quit. Go get your education. Go, I don't care. You know, if my son were to come to me today, not the older one. I mean, even if Logan were to come, but for those of y'all, I mean, many of y'all know Logan playing, you know, tight end with Washington here in the States. But if he were to come to me today, or if my little son were to come to me today and say, I want to be the first person on Mars, I would probably be one of the few people that would tell him, do it. Plan for it. If that's what you want, plan for it. Do it. I think it's unfortunate we don't have more folks, especially those around us, instilling that confidence, building us up, saying, you know, don't say that's a crazy idea. You know, I've heard some crazy ideas and I've seen them come to fruition. I wanted to start a cigar company. A lot of people told me I was crazy. A lot of people made fun of me. Folks up here in Virginia that did not understand the culture. You know what? It's incredible how many of those folks now buy my cigars.
Eddie, did you always feel that way, or do you think that's just how, like, the values that your family, your mother installed in you, or is it also sort of a fighting spirit that you developed as a teenager whilst being in college, competitive nature from the sports industry? Where did that come from?
Our parents instilled it in us. Well, you know, one of you know, it's a neat thing. I guess I don't know if it's culture to culture, region to region here in the States, and your economic level. I don't know, but since we didn't have much, what we did have instilled in us education, confidence. Just because we didn't have money didn't mean we couldn't attain more. You know, it is just the way things were. But you could be the richest person with not much money. Okay. There's something in here. Okay. Also, faith. I know for some that's a sensitive subject, but for me, faith in God, just faith, hope. That word, hope. When I wake, today could be a crappy day, a horrible day. But you know what? Tomorrow, it's a new one. Renewed hope. You just go and you don't stop. And it's interesting. It's not that I love the people around me, my friends, and I lean on them sometimes, you know, and support and advice. But at the end of the day, it comes down to me and God. That's the conversation right there. And I think for me, because I have responsibilities and I have to get things done, there is no other alternative. Because if I don't come through, if I don't succeed, I let other people down. My family, I've got to put food on my table. My employees, okay, my customers, right here. So we're just getting North Suffolk right here. Beautiful little place. If you look around me, this is Virginia for you. Still just beautiful, quaint, gorgeous. Well, this is a day in the life of a cigar rep or manufacturer, depending on how they do it. Okay. So we're coming up here. Oh, one moment. So sorry.
With probably plenty of calls coming in at the same time. Eddie, you're muted.
Unmute. Got it. Here we are. Okay. Approaching North Suffolk Cigars in Suffolk, Virginia. Bob Stevens' place. Awesome guy. So here you go, Bob Stevens. Okay. I think were you at the PCA?
No,
okay, TV. Okay. So anyway, so this is what we're going to be for today. Okay. And we'll start at 4 o'clock, our little cut and light. So here we go. Let's see what we has up in here. Hello there. So this is a little spot. He's got a few customers in here already. Say, hey, everybody. So I'll give you all a little tour. Okay. So go ahead. I'll let you lead.
Okay. So this is our regular lounge.
Right.
For everybody. So we got a little smoking lounge here.
You walk in. Nice humidor going around. Okay.
Got over 670 facings.
So
We got the Tarazona.
got our stuff right here. This and I love this area. It's this part of Virginia. Well, a lot of parts of Virginia are nice, quaint, and intimate, even in big towns. If you go to Arlington, Alexandria, it's that the Old Dominion feel that you get. That's what Virginia is called, the Old Dominion, for obvious reasons. Okay, with American history.
So this door here.
Oh,
So this is our patio.
so there's a little outdoor patio. Okay, you got some little, what is that? That's a Japanese maple, right? I think so. Japanese, beautiful during the fall. Come fall, that tree turns so fiery red. What I would do in college. So you guys get to hear a lot about cigars, right? But before I was ever Eddie of Tarazona Cigars, those other things, and I do have other parts of my life. So every summer at college, up at Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, these trees, well, when this tree would bloom come fall, I would always take a leaf off the tree and I would put it in a book for the rest of the year. Just, there was something about it. It's just beautiful up here, just gorgeous up here. I wouldn't do it with dogwood because I'm allergic to them. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. So, okay. Oh, look at here. So this is pretty cool. So this is a members entrance for the upstairs. Okay. On the side. This is pretty nice. They got key card access. Okay. Nice and quaint.
So that's a proper tour that we're being taken on today.
Yep. And now you got your lockers here. Okay. Little seating area. Okay. Fridge, water, coffee, microwave, the latrine, restroom area. Okay. Look at that. Wow. Nice little lounge here too.
So it's kind of what we call our quiet lounge. People want to work and smoke. And then you got the main members lounge with 2 TVs and all the recliners and the rabbit smoke eaters.
Look at that. Yeah, I noticed this on the wall that he has the rabbit smoke eaters throughout the place. It's pretty cool. So guys, this is my first time here. So I'm actually taking this tour with y'all. So it's really neat. Yep. So this is really, really impressive. Okay. Really nice. I would have if I was living out here, my office would be here. So make no mistake. So we'll take it back downstairs and then we'll we'll go with a regular, okay, more conventional show for you guys. But I thought it was pretty cool. Just to show you guys around. This is what we do, and it's fun. The travel, like I said, it's unbelievable. You get to see some beautiful parts, not just of this country, but other countries. And you know, I remember when I went down to the Bahamas, we had sneak cigars in because of their because of their taxes and all that. We did a little event, and it was awesome. So,
now, Eddie, what I'm really curious about though is when you think back to those 8-9 months that you had after finishing your job and before you actually got into cigars, and now you live this lifestyle. You're on the road, you're traveling, you have your own brand. During those 9 months, when you had all the time to think about what's your next move, where do you want to be in life, what are you going to do for a living, did you ever envision any of that, or was it like a well thought through plan, or is this just something you evolved into and you stumbled upon?
you know, that's a good question, and I get asked that from folks that are interested in getting in the industry or just in general. It's just a good question. Now, mind you, this is hindsight speaking.
Mm-hmm.
When I started, I don't think anybody would start a business say, I don't want to be successful. We all know that we want to be successful, do something positive, grow. Because there was no blueprint for me. And I could ask, you know, I remember I would ask, I'd pass by Nick Perdomo's office, ask questions. Other, you know, Alan Rubin, okay, with Alec Bradley Cigars. I still go to him. You know, there's tons of folks I would ask, but everybody's so busy doing their thing too. There's no blueprint. So I knew I wanted to grow a brand that people would appreciate, of course. That's important, that they appreciate the brand. But I wanted to give them my interpretation of what good cigars are. They're all good. There's so many great cigars out there, but we all have our interpretations based on our palate. And that was the fun thing. See, I see cigars as gastronomy. I want us to start talking more about cigars as gastronomical, food, coffee. You know, look at how many articles, how many conversations have we had? What do you drink with your cigar? Well, if your taste buds were not important, we wouldn't ask that question. Of course, it's important. Gastronomy, you know, how things pair well. So it would be really neat to start seeing cigars more in those terms, as just instead of just a cigar that has a particular flavor. You know, that's why we do dinners. Okay, that's why we do. You know, do you like rum? Do you like bourbon? Do you like single malts? I mean, it all depends. But anyway, back to your question. One, I wanted to build a successful brand and be respected for my work. Not so much the cigars and all that in itself, but the work I do. And then be profitable at it. Okay. There was a time I did not want to be so big. But along the way, something changed, and now I'm like, let it go, and that's really how it came about.
Could you somehow pinpoint your finger on what it actually was that changed back then, or?
Realizing how really, I realized, and it was after my divorce. I realized life isn't over. You know, divorces are tough, and I was feeling sorry for myself. I mean, I was a young man, roughly about 41 or so, and I'm like, no, I still have a whole life to live, probably 2 more, who knows? Okay. And I think that's been the toughest part, really, in my life, dealing with something. Okay. Because who says, yeah, I want to get a divorce and I want life altering events. No. But anyway, something changed in there that said, take it. No more. Just go. Don't hold back. Execute and do it. And I have not turned back since. And I've got to tell you, no regrets. I see what's going on now and what we're doing. It's been unbelievable. It's been a lot of fun, tons of fun. I love this industry. I love the people in this industry, customers, there's something special, if you allow it to be. This industry is very special. To say, people say, well, is there somebody you don't get along with in this industry? No, not that I just don't get along. On my hand, I could tell you there's probably that many people that I probably don't care for or get along with. Outside of that, no, it's a kick-ass industry, and we all enjoy it. You would not travel halfway around the world if you did not enjoy it. Point blank. Okay, that's the fun part about it. Okay, I'm sure
also,
you
like,
go ahead.
Because you mentioned those tough times that you had to go through, and I had such an inspiring and wonderful conversation with the dear brother of the Leaf of ours just this week about the struggle component and how we all have to face adversity and difficult periods in our life, but the humble cigar has just such a magical power of it aligns us, it brings us together, it gives us all a perspective on the things that matter, and that is community and being around people that we love. It's about treasuring and appreciating the time that we're all gifted with, and thus did you feel some of that, or was that a big part of why you chose cigar above any other industry? Because being successful, creating a brand that flies and making it a feasible business case is something you could do in many different industries, and you decided to do it in the cigar industry, which above all is probably a challenging one to succeed in.
You started off with the word humble. I would, and not to be naive, but I would like to think people would be, that people would truly appreciate the humility of a cigar, and that humble moment that you're smoking and enjoying a cigar, not to sometimes to celebrate, okay, sometimes to share the birth of a new child, okay, or a newborn baby. Sometimes just the light in the memory of someone. But all those things, when you win, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, yeah, they're cheering, all that, but that was humble. We won. It's not, yeah, that team, this and that. Even by celebrating, you can be humble about it. And think about this: since the Europeans came over to the New World and discovered tobacco, all those meetings we'll never know about. From then to now, over this humble product, and not the cigar in itself. Remember, there's different forms of how the cigar was rolled and how it was used, but over tobacco. And I know tobacco gets a negative connotation; it's demonized. Okay, but I think it depends the mode, the form, all that. But this is such a humble product now. That I love it. I love it. That I could just sit, chill with folks, get to know them or not get to know them, and we could all be quiet and enjoy our cigars. But a lot was said right there. I think when I got into it, it was just about that man and what my experience was. I saw a Cuban guy that looked worn and had probably struggled a lot in life, but now he was here, okay, in Florida, okay, in the US. And you celebrate that, okay? In his case, big time. But for me, I love cigars. It's very relational, okay? And it can also be very personal too, okay? But that's what's cool about it. You know, let's say, you know, maybe there's a father and son out there. They don't always get along, right? But every now and then they have their little cigar together, and it's probably the most peace they're gonna have between one another. I don't know, but I'll tell you what. Through a cigar, they found a way. Maybe for that moment. Okay. Everybody's different, but I think that's what's so cool. You don't have to pigeonhole a cigar. Okay. Just like we shouldn't pigeonhole people. Okay. We should not put people in a box. Okay. And that's what I love about cigars. Come on, with all the blend and everything that goes around, you can't pigeonhole a cigar. There's so many things. I mean, think about the flavors, the blends. It's endless. It's endless. That's what's beautiful about it also. But just a humble little stick. So, but no, I got into it really in itself. I really love cigars, and I love tobacco. Love the plant. Such a beautiful plant. The other day I was hearing Felix Mesa. He was talking with Jose Blanco, a little show, when they were talking about the blends and the leaves and this and that, and los cruzados, they say hybrids, okay. And no lie, I was with Felix Mesa a few days before because I had to come back to the States. Talking about that just gets me going, and I know sometimes it can get very technical. Okay. But it's like going back to, you know, when you're in school, when you're a kid in biology class, A, B, 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 the whole box, you know, cross-pollinization, or, you know, hybrid, you know, the rows. And we always see it in school. They always do the rows or something like that. So much fun. You do it with the tobacco. And why do you do it? And what are you trying to accomplish? But if you do that hybrid, you know, you got to understand now it's going to, you know, porque cruzado, the hybrids, you know, you got to let them sit longer, the fermentation, whatever. It all depends. That stuff is really, really cool on a nerdy level. I'm getting on a nerdy level, but it's fun. Look at here. So look at, see, they got their little buddy. Hi, guy. See, look at, they even have a mascot. Look at here. How are you? Well, it's good to meet you. Oh, yes. See? So over here, they even have a mascot. How awesome. He's a really chill dog. It's nice to meet you, buddy. Oh, shake. Okay. Look at that. So that's really what I was saying. The dog got my train of thought. I love dogs. So, but so no, so we were talking about like with Felix Smith and things like that. That stuff really gets me excited with the tobacco plant. Hey Bob, what's the password here? NSC 2020. Okay. Alrighty. So we're gonna switch over here. Oh,
That's perfect.
no.
In the meantime, I would love to ask you a question that
Yes, sir.
you just inspired me towards when you mentioned Felix and Jose, which we both had on the show, and with Felix in particular, we had such an in-depth technical tobacco conversation, and you are now on the road promoting your own cigars, representing the brand. When you go out there and when you talk to either retailers or the end consumer about your cigars and about Tarazona Cigar Company, what do you primarily focus on? Because it feels like, you know, some people, they primarily talk about the blending, the tobacco, the hybridization, the seed varietals that they use, all the technical stuff. And then you talk about the inspiration, the people, the community, the camaraderie. What do you primarily rest your communication with the end consumer on, and how do you primarily promote your own brand? As in, what is it that you would like to convey to other people that is special about Tarazona?
You know, I never really thought of it in those terms. When I go out, I just normally, I just speak with the customer. It's okay. I'm gonna start with this relationship. I love meeting the customer because it doesn't matter the cigar. Don't get me wrong, cigar's great, it's good, all right. That relationship is more important than the cigar. Always for me. I could tell them, they're going to ask in the course of the conversation. So explain what you were thinking about the cigar or why. But you know what? That relationship, building that relationship. And then like every now and then they'll go, or I'll ask, you enjoying the cigar? So everything, oh man, I love that, that sweetness or that little, bite that's there. It depends. So I guess the brand is the brand, but I think the brand is built upon relationships too. Not just having, a good cigar. I mean, that's just me. Okay. Like I said, tons of great cigars out there. Okay? I think one of the ways we connect, I'm very personable with folks. You and I've met and all. I mean, you send me a message, I'm probably hitting you up really quick. I don't care who you are, where you are in the world, whatever. I've got an open door policy. Like there it is. Awesome. So yeah, really relationship. You build that relationship, and I think it's made easier now because the consumer is a lot more savvier. They know your blend now. They already know. So always talking about cigar is just always that means for me, I look at it, you're just always trying to sell a cigar. Where me getting to know the person is a better investment. Okay. Then
Probably also will help you build a legacy much rather than just selling a cigar here and now.
Yep.
So you're investing in the long-term relationship and brand building as opposed to just making a quick buck.
Oh yeah. It's just I don't know. I love people. People are really awesome. Okay, and it's a lot of fun getting to know them, what they do, okay, where they're from. I mean, those things, for me at least, as a brand owner, are important. I look at it as that's me. They invest in us as a company, okay, with their hard-earned money. Okay, I look at it. I'm investing in them by getting to know them, their stories. It's really no different sometimes than like being a bartender. Okay, a real bartender that's there. They're good at their craft. They do what they do, and they listen. They love listening to their customers. But I think I get something out of it too. I'm not gonna lie. I get so much out of it, and it is phenomenal. Okay, it's a lot of fun investing in your customers. I'd have to, this past year, one of our good friends passed away from COVID. I'd met him, I don't know, Scott, easily over 10 years ago. What a lovable man. He was a giant, but also a huge, tremendous heart. You get invested in that, and you build that relationship, and you end up having friends. And Scott's gonna be missed, but I'm a richer person, a more blessed person because I got to know him, and I mean that. This guy was a gem of a human being. I mean, you can't buy that, and this is why I say, for me, cigars, relationships, and experiences. They're just some things you can't buy. So really, my job is giving me something free, and it's experience of and in people. I think we hear Carlito say this all the time, and there's one thing he says I agree with him 1,000%. It's about the people. The moment you forget it's about the people. No, don't get me wrong. We are here to make cigars. But why are you making cigars outside of your love for tobacco and blends and all that? You gotta understand those people out there, okay, line up to smoke your product. You know what? Take the time to get to know them. You're not gonna meet all of them, of course. That means it's not gonna happen. It's impossible. But while you're there, man, how do you say it? What am I get to know them. It's really cool. You'll probably learn something new or find something out. I don't know, but for me, that's what it's about.
And you know what I find interesting as well is, even though some people you probably haven't met, or you did not have a chance to meet all of your consumers, obviously, and you
Right.
certainly as a consumer did not have a chance to meet all the people who were involved in creating, blending, assembling, rolling that wonderful cigar. Still, when you light it up, though, it's like we're all connected, because the cigar
Mhm.
ultimately brings it all together, and it brings all of us together. And I always say that the cigar is like a glimpse into the heart and soul of all the people who made it, who helped bringing it together, and also all these past generations that came before us, who truly helped pave the way for us ultimately enjoying this wonderful product. And I know you're fired up about history, so this is
Oh
probably
yeah,
your alley.
that's. I was gonna say, three guys for me at least that are no longer with us. Two of them were manufacturers, and one was, for me, the rep of all reps, the man. Okay, so Gilberto Oliva, okay, and Rolando Reyes. And go figure that now, of course, Puros Indios was just purchased. How fortuitous bringing those two men up. Those two men left a tremendous mark on me professionally and personally, how they were as people. Really looked up to them. They were of another era, another age. That's history right there. But then Bert, who used to work for Oliva, okay, for age, from pretty much almost when they started, he was on the road, and he was one of the driving force, motivating factors, okay, of me not quitting. He would call me, here he is, he's already good. He had brought Oliva to the country. He's like, all right, yeah, he was their guy. And but he would call me, don't quit. You got a good thing going on here, kid. Like with his little, I guess, New York accent of sorts. But that's important. And, I love having that connection with the past. Okay. Of course, I'm 46. Most people look at me, they're like, no, he's not. But yes, I'm 46 years old. So I understand, right, that connection for me with those guys, and almost carrying with me what they taught me. Okay. That is important to me for this industry. I'm just an ambassador, but we all are. Anybody that enjoys cigars, you're an ambassador to this industry. And like I said, you brought that word up, humility. And there's something beautiful about that. Just to be chill, enjoy. And we share this wonderful product with one another. Okay. I remember I was at one of my son's football games. I forget. I don't know if it was in college or in the NFL. I forget. And I was so excited just to be around people, and it's another football game. Here we go. My son's gonna be starting. I just started hanging out cigars. I'm like, this is fun. And everybody was excited because, oh man, how much you owe? I'm like, you don't owe me anything. I own the company. Enjoy. That's fun. That's fun. You're sharing cigars with folks, and they're excited because, hey, look, thanks for the cigar, man. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this after we win today. I'm like thinking, cross your fingers. I hope we win. I hope we win. No, I'm just kidding. But that's what cigars is about. And it's not always that rah spirit, but you stay positive about it. You know, cigars, even in the most trying times, you know, let's just say, I don't know, you've had a bad day. Oh, lighting up a cigar really just makes that day just a little bit better. Yeah. So it's not rocket science. Now there's science in tobacco and all that, which I love, but in itself, it's not rocket science. It's a nice, simple, humble product that anyone can enjoy, and I think people should. And if they don't, that's okay. You know, not everybody likes everything, but for me, I like cigars. I like it with either with a rum or a bourbon. So I also like enjoying it when everybody's asleep, because you know you're going. That's one thing. I do not like smoking a cigar when I'm going. I do not have time to appreciate it, and for me that is heresy, not to appreciate the cigar I'm smoking. So yeah, it's not a surprise to see me smoking a cigar at about 2 o'clock in the morning on the patio. Everything's quiet. All I hear are crickets, and light that cigar, pour me a drink. Okay, but it's there's so much there so many experiences, I mean, that I've had, all because of cigars. I mean, it's never a dull moment. Just got back from Hawaii, you know, got with a bunch of folks, and you know, Hawaii's rules and laws where tobacco is concerned are very strict. So there's this little place that they smoke. A bunch of us all get together. Okay, it's evening time, right out there in Oahu, Honolulu, and we're just chilling, sitting. We were talking about food actually. like, guys, stop. We're talking about foods from different countries and ethnic foods, and you know how it is that these poor foods are now expensive on menus all over the place. I'm like, how did black beans and rice end up costing $20
and become fancy?
we started blaming the Food Network. Yep, that's exactly what we did. Like, how could you? Now everybody wants this.
Eddie, first of all, it's wonderful that you acknowledge like the past and the icons of the industry. And Carlito Fuente, who was just joining us on the live stream, and he's watching, we're sending our love and our blessings to him. He also said that it's so important to remember the industry's past and the roots, those people that laid the foundation, and he most certainly is one of them as well.
Yep, you know, and I'm sure Carlito will agree with me on this. You know what's this, and I'll put it in context, and I don't want to speak for Carlito on this, but we were born here in the States. Okay, we're of Cuban descent. Okay, now I mean, not everybody, not all, not everybody was from Cuba, but well, we're of Cuban descent. It is our past and those that came before us that allow us to be doing what we do today. And I'd have to say, as a Cuban, and I'm sure my wife would tell you, Carlito would tell you, as a Cuban, now being, you know, an American of Cuban descent, and in this industry, I embrace the culture, the heritage, and the past even more. Because here I am doing what has been done, how long now? There's something beautiful and special about that. And even if you weren't of Cuban descent, There's still something beautiful of acknowledging the past, recognizing it, okay, and carrying that, and being an ambassador about that. But we're ambassadors. I think the way we're ambassadors with that is in our work, in our love and our passion for cigars. Okay, and so he is right. The past is important. It is, for me. That's why I love history. Okay, for good or bad. Okay, especially we talk about that today, and be like, well, the past is important, and I don't know. There's so, you can learn so much from it. Okay, and I think that's another reason. I'll tell you, that's probably another reason why I do love being in the cigar industry because of past culture, family. There's something special about it. My family's been here since 1896, and my wife's family, they both came, or both sides of our family came from Cuba. They've been here since 1885. Now they came here, okay, because of the cigar industry. One went to Key West, the other went to Tampa. Okay. So then the Key West family, when the cigar industry started migrating to Tampa, okay, they moved to Tampa. And that's how those two families end up coming together. Of course, my wife is here today. But look at that history. That history is important to my family. Other people may not understand it that are in the industry or not. Maybe they do. It doesn't matter. But for me, that's important. And it's important to me because now I get to continue. Okay. We as a family continue. Something we've been doing then here in this country since 1885. Now they're breaking all that. But like you said with Carlito, history, you mean to tell me that he loves that history. It's freaking awesome. Okay. And we get to share that. And we get to tell people, look, our folks came over to the new world. Okay. But you know what? It's like we've never left the old world, or at least, Cuba where it's concerned. That's awesome. I mean, so yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm always going to be proud of that. Okay. It also makes for a better story, doesn't it?
Well, that's for sure. And Eddie, whilst you light up your cigar, I would love to bring in somebody else who's most definitely curious about history and also a dear gentleman and brother who loves
Keep
people
on speaking. I hear you.
beyond everything. So Cy Sweeney, the Irishman, our brother from Ireland. Bring it up, and Eddie, then you can tell us a little bit about the cigar you're just about to light up.
Is it lowercase?
Eddie,
hold on one moment.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir. All right. Yes. Okay. I was connecting my iPad. I'm gonna switch over. Cy, how are you doing, sir? Finally, nice to meet you.
I'm good. Same here, brother. Eddie, absolutely. Listen, I've seen many people on the stuff, and I've smoked with many people in my life, but I must say you're a breath of fresh air there. You're absolutely fantastic. Some of the stuff you were saying, a lot of the stuff you were saying resonates with a conversation I had with another dear gentleman, a friend of mine, not too far away there, Reinhardt, the other night. It's just amazingly coincidental, which I think is absolutely fabulous. But I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I had about 5, but I like questions, but you answered most of them anyway in the talk. One is, the first one would be about faith and hope. We absolutely, I live on that faith and hope, and I love people, and I love being positive no matter how many negatives come my way. I love the positivity, and I love to exude positivity. And and I take time for people, and that's just the way I am. But was there ever, the first question was there ever a time when your hope and your faith floundered a little, where you thought, this is going to, things aren't working out the way I planned, or do you just think of what happens will happen? That's the first question there.
So yes.
Yeah, you can answer that.
Yes. Oh yeah. So really, it's interesting. I don't, a few folks have heard about this, but I don't say much. So when I had gotten started, this is in the late 2000s. I was pretty much broke. The top to my Jeep was tearing, the rag top, it was tearing up. I had no money to replace it. I had to get down to, I believe, South Carolina for an event. A snowstorm started coming in. I'm on Route 29, leaving Virginia, where I'm at now, heading down there. A snowstorm starts coming in. Things are tight. I have to leave home again. Things are not good at home. And I saw that storm, and I saw the snow start falling. I pulled over on the side of the road. No lie, I broke down and I cried. You know that knot you get in your throat and your gut, the anguish. You're just like, you just really don't have an answer anymore. You have no answer. And all you can do, even yelling at God, doesn't seem justified anymore. And I mean no disrespect to the Lord. And you ask yourself, and I really never really found myself asking this much, but what am I going to do? Do you do it or not? Do I keep on driving, knowing all this, knowing the problems I have at home with my wife at the time, knowing that I'm going to freeze my ass off over here in this Jeep going down? What do? Pull over the side of the road. I'm crying that night. I'm mad. I'm angry. But I think, and I'll still go, it comes down to faith. You have to recollect yourself, get your bearings, pull yourself together, and say, because quitting isn't an option. It can be an option. Now, it's, not succeeding is not failure. Okay. If you tried, you gave it your all, and then the writing's on the wall, it's okay to bow out. And it's not graceful. I hate when people say bow out gracefully. No, you know what? You gave it your all. It sucks to lose, but that's it. But I knew I was in control of this. It's my company. I'm in control of what I make or where this goes. And I started thinking about all the work and my responsibilities, and just, I had belief. If nobody else is going to believe in me, I'm going to believe in myself. And that's not being cocky or arrogant. Okay. If you don't want to believe in me, that's okay. I'll believe in myself. Yeah. But I know that if there's one thing, ever since I was a little kid, Sunday school and all that, I always love that saying, God made me somebody special and God don't make no junk.
Yeah.
So that means I was put here. And so until the day, okay, I take my last breath or he takes me out, I'm not done. I cannot quit. You go, you do it. And I remember that like angst started chilling out. I started collecting my bearings. And mind you, even with gas, I only had enough for like 3 gas tanks. I'm like, how do I do this? I need people to get my brand. And I did it. I went all the way down there. But instead, so believe it or not, it was a good event. I got a good order. Okay. A few thousand, anything right now. But then I was told, on my way back, I was told, okay, to go see a gentleman at a shop. He's no longer there. He ended up giving me a $17,000 order, brother.
Wow.
The first thing I did was I bought a brand new top to that Jeep. And but you have to, and because of all that hard work, I think the biggest thing is, first and foremost, before you worry about letting anybody else down, letting myself down. You guys ever find yourselves, in a situation, or you wish you would have done something different, and it just happened, and you just regret it, and nothing big, not a big thing, but you still feel that same regret, whether it was a big thing or a little thing.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling. I hate leaving chips on the table. Now, it's going to happen in life, but I think also another thing is how you handle when you leave those chips on the table. Just remember, the last time you left chips on the table, don't leave them there again. And it's going to happen. We're humans. We're flawed. We're imperfect, and that's okay. Okay. That's why my name is not God. Okay. My name is Eddie. Okay. But it's okay. But for me, it is not okay to quit. Okay.
Yeah.
It is not okay to play victim. Okay. But it is also not okay to not take responsibility for your own actions and go out and do your thing. Handle your business. And that's it. I'm not saying times aren't tough. Times tough. As a growing company, I mean, it gets scary sometimes. And we've been growing. We have to keep up with that. The balance in employees, more reps, and you have to keep everybody happy. Okay. But I'll tell you what. But you're not going to find me in a catatonic state and just freeze. That's not going to happen. It can't happen. Okay. Yeah. People, and I'd say
it's not
in your everyday life. No, it's not. But I'd have to say one of the big, also, my wife is a tremendous support. She amazes me more than, okay, I can come to her and say, we have a problem here. She makes it seem like there's no problem, even though it's the way when I come to her, her response is like, okay, so we have this. So, okay, what are we going to do about it? How do we? And I'll say, I don't know. And she goes, well, we'll figure it. And she tells me this a lot. We'll figure it out like we figure everything else out. That's my girl right there. That's my girl right there. She is phenomenal. And she's every bit as important to this company. But everybody we have is important to this company. Okay. Everyone is. From Ben to Willie to Justin, everybody. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
But I know, but another good thing is I have people that'll tell me straight. Okay. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me what's up. But I think, and that's the business side, but there's a lot of personal side in there too, because it goes, that human spirit. Don't let that human spirit ever be snuffed out, to win and to succeed. Okay. And when I say win, I'm not talking about just lifting up a trophy. If you set your mind on something, give it an honest shot. Give it an honest shot. Don't say, well, I tried, when you really didn't try. Okay. Really go out and try. Give it your all. And then I guarantee I don't think you'll have anything to be disappointed in, except for the fact that maybe it didn't work out. But look at what you're going to learn. Do you know how many times I've screwed up with my company and making decisions on? But do you know I've learned so much. Okay.
It's a pure learning process.
Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm older though. I'm wiser. Okay. So I'm not the 26-year-old kid that started Tarazona Cigars anymore. I'm 46 years old now. Boy, and you know what's so funny now? It's very fast because it's not like then I was, oh, well, what am I doing? Now things just come, and sometimes I don't explain it to people at the office, and they're like, well, I'm like, trust me, just trust me on this. Get it done. Call them or do something. And they're like, and then I'll explain to them later, and they're like, okay, we're good. Too much in your brain, too much. But no, you can't. You got to believe in yourself. You have to.
Yeah,
because you can't force anybody else to believe in you.
But you also think that you have to boost others as well, help others. Be positive with others in people's company. Be positive with them. Never knock somebody, even if you sometimes meet people that are, we won't say ignorant, awkward. Just still be you. Don't change for be you. Exude that positivity and try and find something uplifting about even the worst situations.
Yep. I believe that. One, okay. Don't waste energy being negative and just I don't know. Don't worry about somebody else's game. Take care of your game. Okay. And I'll say this, let's take, a shopper. Let's say shopper. We all know this happens. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but we all know this happens. You got one shop on one side of town, and he's always letting what the other shop across the town, and what are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? Do you know how much energy you're expending worry about the other guy, that if you put just as much energy into your shop, you never have to worry about this guy? Because you know what? He's not paying your bills. Okay. Take care of your shop, take care of your customers, be the best tobacconist that you can be. Okay, be the best lounge that you can be. And I tell you what, the customers will see that and they will appreciate it. They will appreciate it. But that goes for anything, really. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Show interest in your friends. Okay. And I'm gonna tell you, they're gonna appreciate you. But personally, I really think that's how life should be.
Yeah.
But not everybody does it.
Not everybody, unfortunately. But the second question I was going to ask you, because I don't want to take up all your time.
You're okay.
Was just getting back to the history thing. I was only talking about history it is tonight, actually, but I love the history. I love the history of my family. I love the history of different things. I just love it. I love the history of things. But I find with the humble cigar from the history of that is intriguing and fascinating. And I find there's still some people around today, that, especially the older generation, that have so many stories to tell, and such interesting stories. And I've read some cigar books about different things and all that, but I think something needs to be done as a social history, so say a book as documented as a social history with the people who are still around that are elder, some of the people in the industry now, and basically, and obviously thrown in a history of the humble cigar from earth to hand, right?
Right.
Do you think that would be a good idea? Not for money, but for a thing. And would you be willing to give your view on it in that book?
Yeah, I think you should start writing it like yesterday.
So if I get, well, I've actually done a few things with it already, because it's been, I've mentioned it on, I said it on Meet the Professor in the comments that with the fantastic, legendary Jose Blanco and of course Go and Jeremiah, and that some of the stories need to, will be good an idea. But if I get onto you, Eddie, sometime during the next 2 weeks,
sure,
could we do an interview and I ask you questions and we can put that into the book? That's all I
no,
ask.
that'd be awesome.
It's not a monetary thing. Yeah,
No,
it's not a monetary thing.
Even if
it's a university.
Even if it was, because I'm going to tell you something. Sharing whether it's history or thoughts, I think I really do it. One, it would be appreciated, but I think it's a great idea. I love it when I come across a book now and then about tobacco, and they don't talk about tobacco, not tobacco in the broad term of tobacco, not cigar or whatever. It's awesome to see, not just here in the States or at least in the West, but in other cultures. Okay. How it's appreciated. I use that word, appreciated, that downtime. And it's not just here, it's global, and it's wonderful. It really is it's very neat to see.
Fascinating. It's fascinating.
It truly is.
It is fascinating. Yeah.
I mean, you look at, okay, so you're from, you being up there in the UK, it's interesting. So now I'm going based on what I know and all that, and movies and all. We would always see a seafaring people, okay, but most of the depictions that we always see, okay, the seafarers from your lands are always with a pipe, okay. But if people would actually understand and appreciate pipe tobacco, okay, all different blends, forms, and all that, I'm going to tell you, okay, it's every bit as intriguing and interesting. But that's tobacco. Tobacco is a really, really cool, okay, product. I love it. So I think it would be awesome. Yeah, I Dr. Gamirian, when he would write his book that he wrote, I forget what it's called. Dr. Paul Gamirian. I forget the name of it. My brother had it. I remember seeing it at my brother's coffee table, even in college. So
Excuse me.
no, I think that would be awesome. That would be cool. But yes, feel free, contact me, and you can hit me up on Facebook. So
Yeah, I will indeed, Eddie. And listen, thank you for your time. I better give somebody else a chance. And thank you for your positivity.
You're welcome.
It's fantastic.
It's a pleasure.
As I said, you're a breath of fresh air. Excellent. Thanks, brother.
You're welcome.
So I thank you so much for the wonderful questions and the comment, and your book coming together is such a fabulous project that a lot of people will be eagerly anticipating and looking forward to reading. That's for sure.
Hey Bob.
Excellent.
So
thanks,
I got oh, it's fruit. Okay. I was gonna say I have a tablecloth and all that I was gonna bring in. So yeah.
Eddie, I know you have an event that you need to set for. I hope
we got it. I'll cut it. No, I'll cut out like 10 minutes before, and well, that's it. No. So go ahead. Next question. Come on, no, I'm just kidding. No, it's
Let's bring in Brian for a moment. I mean, he even renamed himself with a little hashtag of the cheap top that you mentioned. So you certainly inspired him already. Over to LA. Welcome, Brian.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, hashtag Jeep Top. It's trending. Yeah, I actually didn't have a question today. I was going to keep my mouth shut for once. Finally, I got a new device. So I got my background. This is a lounge in Santa Monica that I used to like to go to pretty often. Called Lone Wolf Cigars. But yeah, I'm just enjoying and watching and.
No, thank you.
I was just about to say, Brian, what's happening? I mean, I can see you properly. I can hear you properly. You've got a new backdrop. What's up there?
I got a new device. Finally, I know. I was having some serious issues. And this thing is amazing. It follows you. Look at the camera. I have like a film crew. Watch, it adjusts wherever I go. It's great. And if I do this, eventually, did it give me the emoji? Or I can raise my hand?
No,
you were about to look. And then it raises my hand. I don't have to do the button.
It does.
Anyway, technology's great.
Technology is awesome.
I grew up in Montana, so I was just enjoying how much you're taking in the nature. There's a lot of beauty in this weird nation.
Okay, so the farthest I've ever traveled for work, but normally, you guys gotta understand, normally when I get on the road like this, it is work and pleasure. So people are always telling me take a vacation. Now, even though it's stressful again, because you have to be here. Yeah. In between, I am just taking it all in. But the farthest I've gone is to Sturgis. Left Virginia, drove all the way, and then to Casper, Wyoming. Okay. Love it up there. Absolutely gorgeous. What I want to do is a trip. I finally want to take the drive to Seattle, or really Victoria. That's what I want to do. Okay, just get in the Jeep, do the whole trip. Pack it up.
It's a nice drive. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I want to do.
Flathead Lake is beautiful, and then as you're cruising west, you get to go through Coeur d'Alene. It's like it's just epic scenery. Yeah.
And we have a friend of my wife. Her husband, he works there. They live in Vegas, but something out there, I don't know. He has to go back and forth, so he's in Coeur d'Alene quite a bit. But I've been eyeballing that. Here, it's really nice.
For sure. Well, enjoy. Cheers.
Thank you. Oh.
Eddie, another question that Brian just sort of put in my mind as a little seed, because he mentioned technology is amazing. Now, we live in the cigar world and the cigar industry that is such an old school traditional business based on century-old knowledge being passed down from generation to generation, craftsmanship, old techniques. Yet we all have these disrupting influences from new media, social media, whatever you want to call it. And the world is changing at a pace that we could have never imagined. How do you balance that for yourself, and how do you feel about that analog world and the digital world coming together, and the old and the new bridging in the cigar world?
Yeah. And for me, that's a simple answer. I think it's also because of my age. Okay. You know, being born in 75, you know, where the Ataris came in, and then, you know, Commodore and Nintendo. So I'm always fascinated at the fact, if we look at from, let's take the 1890s to the 1860s, 70s, look at technology then. You know, it's crazy that people don't realize that during World War II, they were putting little transmitters into like little, you know, little snuff boxes, little lighter things. You know, that was technology then. It's still the analog form, just relying on natural wavelengths and all. But today, look what really started happening. It seemed like during the 60s and during the mid 70s, technology was more scale, not consumer, not for us, you know, consumers, more for companies. But then all of a sudden, the late 70s and the 80s started happening. Japan started doing things, and then America with these video games, these forms of entertainment. And now look at us with, look, I've got an iPhone here, I've got an iPad here, I've got an iPad mini in my bag, okay, all to stay connected. Okay. Our generation, you know, it's just been a easy transition. So it just made sense to me, and it makes sense to me when all these new forms, platforms or mediums make themselves available to us. Why would I spend all this extra money putting it in a magazine all the time? You know what's, and I'll say this. So let's say Acme Cigar Magazine. Let's just say that's who they are. Acme Cigar Magazine. I put an ad in there. The only way for a customer to respond to that is just going to the store, buy my product. But now, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, I could speak with these customers directly now. Look at we're on opposite sides of the pond, and here we are. Okay. This is awesome to be good with the consumer. Okay. That's that. So I embrace. Okay. Progress happens. I don't look down on it. If used responsibly, I think it's a great thing, a great thing. And I have to say, for us, it's been wonderful. You know, during COVID, you know, when things, even though in Florida we have been locked down, we weren't locked down that long, but the rest of the country was. But you know what? Here I am meeting folks up in Washington, parts of Texas I've never even heard of, you know, California, you name it, globally. It makes it a lot more easier for us to get our brand out. And I understand not everybody likes it, because not everybody feels comfortable, you know, being on this platform, or they don't want to. They say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it every time. One, it's part of my job. Okay. But it's also part of my job that if we use this and these mediums, to know how they work and to maximize, okay, the potential that it brings to us. So why not? Okay, so no, I'm good with it. I think it's great. I think it also lets it lets folks out there really get to know us. But I'm gonna tell you, with me, what you see is what you get. I don't sugarcoat it for anyone. I'm not gonna BS it. And this is me. So, but that's fun, because then I get to meet other folks, and I like Cy. We've been following each other on Facebook for a while. You know, I put our post in the UK, you know, cigar fan page and all cigar club. But being able to speak to him, that's awesome. Okay. that's the fun part. And I'll say that is the fun part, because it makes the world just a little bit smaller. And I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like that, but I appreciate it because I just appreciate folks from where they're from. And it's a great time. One of my friends from college, I just texted him on Facebook the other day. He's from Germany, and I told him, "Hey, look, next year I'm gonna be in Dortmund." So he goes, "Dortmund's 3 hours away from me." I'm like thinking, nothing we can't resolve. Okay, but now he knows. It was easy for me to send him a message. We'll get together we haven't seen each other since college. Okay, that's the cool thing. So yeah, I embrace it. I think, and I think anybody that's wise about it, okay, would maximize it for what it's worth. Look at what you're doing. I mean, look at what you guys have been doing. I mean, look at you, Jose Blanco. Jose Blanco, I mean, he's on the other side of the world too. Look at what they're doing, but look at how we're still reaching folks. We're still sharing things. We're sharing things of, whether it's things of our lives, of our brand, of experiences. You know, the gentleman from California. You know, that's what, I don't know how, 5-hour flight just get to LA. Okay. So I think as a company, we've embraced it. We take it for what it is. It's just another medium, and a lot better than a magazine, if you ask me. Not trying to be disrespectful to the magazines, but it's neat. And I like it when customers, you know, they'll send me messages, because I get it there. Okay, and then and there. And just respond to them.
Now, Eddie, when we look at the industry on a more holistic perspective, things seem to be in a pretty good place right now. Sales are booming. There's obviously some downsides to it all. Certain companies and manufacturers are already facing tobacco shortages. So there's, as always, good things, negative things. When looking ahead, what will the future hold in your humble perspective for the industry over the next few years?
I'm not a soothsayer, but with what's going on right now, I'm really looking at it not from a cigar manufacturing standpoint, not from a shortage, to tobacco shortage because of the demand that's been happening. Not even where COVID's concerned. For me, what I am seeing is a political situation. The U.S. For those of y'all that don't know, I went to school for government, political science. That was my major. My first love and passion, outside of football and cigars, and being on the water, but is politics. I don't try not to speak about it much, but I'll tell you this. We live in very sensitive political times. And with COVID, I think COVID has been politicized and weaponized. My gut feeling is that because the U.S. is still pretty much the world leader, that's still the most powerful country in the world. It is what it is. Okay. Until the elections of next year happens, I feel that government, it's like people have been choosing sides, even with the U.S., on how we handle COVID. Okay. We're really split down the middle. Okay. Lockdown, no lockdown. And until the powers shift, or I look at it like this: if the Republicans take over control back of Congress, okay, then that's, I mean, pretty much it's all changing. But if the Democrats stay in control, I think also things are going to change, because they're going to say, okay, finally we have a stable control during this presidency. We thought things were supposed to start opening up in October, and this was globally too, not just here in the States, but globally. Obviously, Lockdowns are being reimposed, mandates, all that. I think it's really coming down to politics, not anything else. I hate to say it. If you take, for example, another issue, and I know not many people try to talk about it, is the election in Nicaragua too. Okay. Let's not be so naive to think just because we don't want to talk about it because of business and we all have to protect our businesses and this and that. Look, I'm a pragmatic person. I still live in the real world just like everybody else. Okay. Lockdowns or people not returning to work, this is going to be going into 2022. Okay. I'd like to ask everybody, well, let's add flu season. You know, what if it's a severe flu season too, since travel's been up. Okay. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a doctor scientist, but I know how to think. I just feel that until the elections of next year happens, sales will still be up because people are still going to be home. The longer people, come on guys, you're not at the office, so you could smoke cigars. You could drink more, you could eat more, you can do whatever, okay? You could still be on Zoom calls and be in your underwear with a dress shirt and a tie, okay? That's the age we're living in right now. And the reason I say until the elections, I think because the US and the rest of the world is going to have a better picture of how we're going to move forward. But that's a very sensible way to look at things. Okay. And I think, but for elections, confusion is always good. I don't care which country, which party, whatever. So that's where I stand on it. Like I said, I know people want to say, oh, the politics, but you can't ignore it. And I think it's important as manufacturers, because no matter where you are in the world, where you're getting your cigars from, where you're doing your manufacturing, you got your sourcing, your chain, you know, your supply chain, excuse me, it just is what it is. So like you said, well, is there a shortage? Well, the longer we stay home, guess what? Nobody saw this coming like this. So how do you adjust? How do you tell Mother Nature, spit out more tobacco? You don't. How do you, with the supply chain going the way it is globally right now, how do you tell folks that need wood for their boxes or materials, paper, whatever, hey, get more wood? Well, you know, everybody's trying to get more everything right now. Okay? The US just, you know, we just had this hurricane that just went through our country. It created another shortage supply, okay, on basic needs. Okay? That's what we're living in right now. But I also think a lot of it has been driven politically, and until that gets resolved, especially mainly here in this country, okay, I don't think anybody's. How are you going to move forward when there's no clear direction from your leadership? Okay, and I got to be honest with you, at least I feel that's a problem right now. Globally, there is no leadership. There's reactionary. Everything's reactionary right now. So for those of y'all that don't like that I mentioned this, or I'm even talking about it, hey, guess what? That's reality. Okay, it's reality as I see it, as a business, as a company. We've been making our decisions, okay, based on it. Okay, when COVID started, I was actually down. I was entering Nicaragua. I left the DR, entered Nicaragua. And I saw some things that really, I'm like, hold on, well, this thing is really serious. We actually started upping our production, okay, allocating more. And it wasn't until recently, and thank goodness we had planned this whole, since COVID has started, we've only been on, and this is just on one side, on the Caraballos, okay, not the Tarazonas, but the Caraballos. We've been back ordered for 3 weeks, but that shipment's already coming in because we had backstock. We just planned. Ben and I, we went down and we started, you know, increase every time 20%. The longer this goes on, we've been seeing sales, go up because people are staying home. Okay. I was just at a shop. The shop's open here in Virginia. The shop's open, but it was incredible how many people were just driving by picking up their orders. Okay, and we're not talking about 1 or 2 cigars. They were buying boxes. And this is in rural Virginia. Rural Virginia. This is one of the reasons I like getting out there. I could stay in my office, or I could stay at home really all day and work from there. But being out there, seeing what's really happening, seeing what's going on the ground, I think is important for me. Okay. And it allows me to make better decisions. I bring these concerns to Ben, okay, my chief operating officer. And I say, hey, look, I saw this the other day. I almost look at it. You remember in The Godfather when Michael Corleone goes to Meyer Lansky and he goes, today I saw a guy, okay, take a grenade and blow himself up. You know, I don't think he knew how to fix the situation of Cuba there, you know, in the movie. But he was concerned about his investment and his business. That's all I can control. Okay. So that's my approach. That's how I'm looking at it. But if you look at it, we really did expect, the US did, and globally, that come fall, all right, things will get back to normal, 2021. Yeah, well, how's that looking for California? Now they've got a recall election. It just keeps on. So I think everybody's jockeying, and it's unfortunate that they're using COVID and this pandemic to jockey for power instead of trying to do the best for their citizens. And this is globally. You know, we've seen it, New Zealand, Australia, and it keeps on going. And I don't have to tell everybody, we see it in the news, we see what's going on. Anywho, I'll leave it at that. I have planned, I've looked at it towards after the November election. Okay, what happens also after the Nicaraguan election? That is a concern of mine. Okay, it's almost predetermined how the results are going to come out, but then you have to think about what's going to be the response from nations around the world to Nicaragua and the US. I don't know. Okay, these are real questions we have to be concerned about. We have to start asking ourselves. Okay, you can't just wait till after the election. So and we have been. Right? So I've got to be ready. What if due to the election, maybe there's issues, a little bit of violence, things are disrupted for a few. Okay.
Eddie, we have a brief comment or question from
Sure.
your friend Mace over in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie, hi, great to meet you, and yeah, it's been absolutely great to sort of listening and taking in all the history and where you're coming from, and you know, just it's really inspiring just listening to your story, and it's great to listen in. And I'm sort of getting touched on the not a lot of people are into the whole politics of things, but of course politics affects everything, especially this industry and this this leaf that we love. I want to just ask one thing about going away or stepping aside from COVID and the impact and how it's been sort of used as a weapon, right? Just overall, outside of the COVID side of things from the politics, what do you see from a regulatory perspective that might impact, and maybe I might have missed this earlier on, but how do you see just internally within the US regulations that are possibly due to come in, or how do you think that's going to impact things? You know, could there be an easement depending on which political party wins, or how do you see that sort of that landscape in the next year or two?
You know, that's a good question. And the reason I don't put that as I didn't mention that. Okay, this right here, in the end, it's a vice. Okay. Now, I don't like regulation. I don't like overregulation. And I like what's been going on. I mean, it's been going back and forth in the courts here. Okay. But one thing I know, it's not going anywhere. Okay.
Love the confidence. I love it.
It's not going anywhere. And what I've learned from doing business in New Zealand, I really do get choked up when I hear about the taxes and all that and ship and all that. People are still going to purchase it. Now we put up a fight here in the States and it's pretty good. But people are still going to continue to purchase their cigars. Okay. Just like nobody likes paying $80 for a bottle of single malt here. I know over there you guys probably pay more because of the tax. That is another story. I don't even, that makes no sense to me how that happens. Okay. those Scotch companies are right in their in that gripe. That is see, and mind you, it's not just here. That's it. That's a perfect example. Why is it that tariff has to be so high when it's our country and our country's but guess what? How many people in the UK still pay for the Scotch? You're not going to keep them from the rice. Okay. And do I think it should be changed? Yes. I mean, I think that's the most erroneous thing. It's ridiculous that I could buy a bottle. I buy a bottle of Aberfeldy 12 here for 30, 35 bucks. You're paying what? $25 more, something like that for an Aberfeldy 12? I mean, like, dude, I could have driven to the distillery for less. But you see what I'm getting at. Okay. But even here, even if those do pass, we'd figure out a way. But I think what's also cool here, though, you know, the way our legal structure is set up and how we can fight, okay, these things, it almost seems more unilateral, like in your country it would be. Like, no, people, no, this is it. It's for the betterment of the people. But that's why I always say, and it depends on the form of government you have around the world. People get offended when I say this, and I mean no disrespect, but we are not, and I don't mean in any way in this term, okay? In the States, the way our structure is set up on the Constitution, so there's always a fight, no matter how many times it tries to get distorted and politicians and courts and all. But if you take like the UK, you guys are technically subjects. People miss that term, okay? And that's why things could change, okay, so much easier, okay, on whether it's not mandates, and I don't mean by mask, but codes. I mean, it just is, and these are different form of governments. But here in the States, everybody thinks, oh, this is how it is. I'm like, no, guys, this is not how it is all over the world, okay? I mean, I think that's what I love about government and politics, okay? Not just here, but globally. And that's why it is important for me to see what's going on in another country, okay? Or like with our allies, when they make decisions on certain global things that affect us here, but affects everybody, okay, globally. But no, I see that one differently, because that could be, that's a different type of fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Where for me, what I was talking about before with the industry, consumption, everything that's going on, that is a global chain. But remember, it's not just the US that we sell cigars to. So we do pay attention to what's going on in other places, okay? But you have to. You can't be doing business globally and not pay attention. But even if you're not doing business globally, if your supply chain is from abroad, you need to know what's going on. Okay, we know gas prices have gone up. Fuel in itself has gone up. That means you've been seeing in the industry, the cigar prices have been going up. The shipping, I mean, it just is. Okay? That's just, like I said, I'm pragmatic. I'm not naive in that sense. Even though people don't want to see it, okay? Yeah. You never even have to vote, but you know what? Things still affect your life. That's the world we live in. That's, you know, each of us is under a state.
Just on that point, then, on that point though, do you see, you've been around the world and you see how different governments are, and as you say, it's, you know, it's government led, it's country led, it's not necessarily down to the people. But do you see that potentially, let's say in the UK, where I'm at now, do you see that there is a different way, or there's things that people could do? Is it more that people could do as a whole, as a community of cigar smokers, that is currently maybe being done in the US or in other markets that you've seen? That actually, you know what? Why aren't the guys in the UK doing this? Why aren't the guys in France? You know what I mean? Have you seen things like that maybe we here in the UK could pick up on and actually organize ourselves in a different manner?
I think, but okay, when we take the UK, then I'll speak directly to the UK. Even the cigar culture is different. It's still a lot more formal than it is here. So even in attitude, it's more formal. You know, you've heard, we all know the term passive aggressive. This is my opinion, and I'm going to tell you something. You guys are passive aggressive. It's like you say, I'm gonna put on my best British accent. Oh, Sam, don't be so cheeky. No, ha 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 ha. What she's really saying, look, you mother, don't be such a, okay? Because I really want to, but I'm trying to be nice about it. Blah, blah. That's really what the Londoner just said. Okay, he wasn't saying it's like they do that down here in the South in the US. You ain't right. That makes me so mad. I would rather you come out and cuss me out and say you disagreed with me, you didn't like it, but I'll say that's something that you do because that's a cultural thing. Okay. Now we laugh about it because it's true. There's a passive aggressive, but instead of being more overt, but then you see, and I've seen so much for that little that little soapbox in the park for you guys that hasn't been going over too well. Okay. And I say that not to be mocking. I say it because we take it for, or maybe we take it for granted here, or we don't, that we have a real free speech and how to really get. We have access to our politicians on a level that's incredible. Okay. Let me ask you something. Now I know how the structure is in a roundabout way. Well, let's take the House of Lords. Yeah. I don't see myself kicking it with any of them.
Not many of us do.
I mean, how am I going to get access to him? I'm going to go into his little club and say, hey, look, man, those cigars you want. He's like, I get cigars all day. No, but it's a cultural thing. Okay. So, and I think the way it is viewed is different. How you guys treat it, okay, in your society when you guys get together at the lounge and all, it's still a little bit more proper. Where in the US, it's like shorts, t-shirt. Hey man, what's up, bro? we're kicking it. So I think that's one of the biggest things, that the attitude perspective of how we advocate certain things. Okay. But what has been interesting, you're beginning to see it, and not to bring COVID into it and all, but you're seeing it where mandates, where people on all sides are just tired of the mandates. Okay, they understand the importance of health, but okay, at what point do we start helping ourselves that we're hurting ourselves? I think that's the mentality that people are seeing. So now you're seeing these protests all over that we've not seen before in certain countries. Okay. But that attitude has existed here since 1776. So you got to take, it's a cultural aspect to it that we have here, where we say, hold up, you're not gonna, dude, all I'm doing is smoking a cigar. I'm just enjoying myself. But you want to be a big brother. Okay. I don't need a babysitter. I don't need a hand holder. I think that's how we fight it. I think there are ways to go about the tax issue. Okay. Now, I think in certain countries like yours, approaching the tax issue and not, you guys are not as militant as we are when we get into our advocacy. Okay. But if you can convince politicians that by lowering the taxes and allowing, okay, sales of cigars. Now, it's not going to be all tobacco. It's not going to happen on cigarettes. You know that. Okay. Would actually yield more of a tax revenue. And still show them that it's not young folks. It's not, it's not kids. I hate when they say young folks. They now extend it to like age 28, children, minors. Okay, they're not the ones smoking cigars, man. Okay, so it's knowing where you're at, where you live, how the politics work, how the culture of politics works, and then finding an ingenious way to I guess court, okay, Yeah, I guess for you it'd be your local MP, okay, or something like that, or even your even in your own town. But for the most part, towns have nothing to do with it. This tobacco thing comes from the top. Okay, exactly. So over here, it's a little bit different. You know, towns, cities. But in your case, okay, you go to your MP and say, hey, look, okay, just allow it that we could have these lounges like this, and let it be reassuring that, you know, it's not about mine. We don't want minors. Just like we could care less. I mean, I think there's a way. There's a way, but in everything there's a way. I believe that with all my heart. I think that, and it's not. I'm the most optimistic person when it comes to getting things done, but you got to figure out how to get it done.
And Eddie, I think one thing that we can all agree on is that what ultimately matters is standing up for something and raising your voice. So that's what we all can do, and what I believe our responsibility as cigar lovers is to stand up for our rights, to raise our concerns. And you know, there's platforms out there, there's organizations out there, whether it's the PCA that you made a substantial donation to, whether it's Cigar Rights of America, Cigar Rights of the World, Cigar Rights of Europe. Those people are out there, and they're all trying to fight for our rights, and we should make ourselves heard.
So you just mentioned that, and I'll bring in the EU on this. And for however anybody on this broadcast feels about the EU, whether you support the EU or not, my case, it's not whether I'm for or against the EU, even though I have my personal opinions on that. But the case that this one central body should be making decisions or calls on tobacco that affect all these different types of cultures, that maybe they're rich in tobacco, and maybe Spain. Just take Spain. I mean, come on, they're going to enjoy their cigars, and if they go to a bullfight, they're going to enjoy it even more. Okay, so if we all talk about respecting cultures, right? We all talk about respecting one another's cultures, but yet we try to homogenize everything. I'm sorry, we try to make everything monolithic. For me, okay, if I was a MP in the EU, I would be one of the biggest advocates of letting cultures, okay, be cultures. That's what makes Europe, England, Germany, all these different cultures, the US, look how cultural we are, how diverse we are. That's what makes things beautiful. Stop trying to put us all on the same page. Recognize that, hey, look, this is how it is here, and this is here. Now, I'm not saying across the board, like I said, as a whole. I'm just speaking about culture. You know, we were talking about when Carlitos talked about history, okay? But one of the things that makes what we do special is our culture. We carry that, you know, with pride, that Cuban culture. It's beautiful, okay? Why would I want to water that down, okay? No, I don't. Okay? So that's really my thing, where I do not believe that the EU should be making decisions on restrictions where tobacco is concerned, period. That is not their call. It should be up to the states. Okay.
Eddie,
solely up to the states.
What a wonderful show today, with a little tour, a little car drive, and everything around it. I know you've got your event coming up, but the regulatory aspect aside, as a final note, what would you wish for in the cigar industry? Would you say that we all can do as cigar lovers to make this industry and this beautiful cigar world that we all love so much a better place?
One, responsibility. You know, this is an adult product, should be appreciated and enjoyed by adults. I think it's whenever they could use the minor angle and tobacco in the hands of minors, okay, that's a lose-lose. We'll always lose. We have to be responsible. But also, I would tell everybody there, I'm not going to tell you how many cigars you smoke and all that, but also be a responsible smoker, okay? Enjoy, but be responsible too. Just like when you drink, be responsible. Enjoy it, okay? Now everybody has to make that decision of what responsibility is to them. Okay, but I think that being responsible, also being mindful. Okay, ambassador and cigar smoker. You know what I love doing, even in public. Okay, I'll ask, hey, you don't mind if I light the cigar, right? More often than not, people they don't even have to smoke. They actually say, no, please. Oh, I loved it when my grandfather, my father would smoke a cigar. Oh, so be mindful and respectful. Okay, cigar smoker, but also be a humble person. Be humble about it, guys. It's a cigar. Don't just because you know me. I don't let this get to my head. I'm too big for my britches because hey, I'm Tarazona Cigar. No. I'm just a simple cigar guy that is blessed and thankful to be able to do what I do. Okay, and then support those brands you like, or support those brands you want. You know, go to your local cigar shop and say, hey, look, I'm looking for that. I'm really excited. I'd like to try, but support the industry. Because here's the thing, you're talking about the money we give to PCA. Got news. You guys supported to PCA. When you guys buy my cigars, you allow me to give money to PCA, okay, to the CRA. So I'll tell you, and I'm not going to shy away from it. Please buy my cigars. Ask for my cigars, because at least you know one thing. Now, I'm a huge advocate. Okay, on that, I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. Okay, I won't. But I know that protecting this industry also protects a lifestyle that we all enjoy. That, you know, like I said, the dinners, the vacations, the get-togethers, the cruises, the whatever, the camping, okay, the father-son bonding. It's the lifestyle we're in. Okay, it's not just okay, not for me at least. So I would challenge everybody: just be responsible. You know, really, just be a responsible person. Yeah. Well, we all know etiquette. I mean, and I don't care where in the world you live. We all know simple etiquette, golden rule things. Okay, but that's what I would tell everybody. And if you see rules that are encroaching, you know, when you approach you for us, your congressman, congressperson, senator, whoever, MPs, wherever we are in the world, your legislatures. Okay, go to them with a good spirit. Okay. They may be against something you like, but you know what? Don't give them a reason to say, see, that's why I could care less. Okay, let them know you're a person, and you know, this also, you know, this has to do with jobs. Okay, I mean the jobs that this industry employs, not just here in the country, but globally, all over the place. So those are things I would just say. You know, I think about that a lot. Just to, hey, I want to do my job right. I want to do it responsibly, and I want to give my consumers the best product possible. And I want them to enjoy it. Okay? I just want people to enjoy it, and I want them to enjoy not just mine, but so many of us in this industry. There's some great cigars out there. Venture, go look, and I see the tides are shifting with old world and new world now. Okay, we understand that. Okay, now I mean, Mitchell the other day, he was talking about now he's seeing a 60-40 split.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and let me tell you, and he knows what he's talking about. So when I saw 60-40 split, that means I start thinking as a company, yes, here we come, world. Because that's good for us, but it's also good for the consumer, because now the doors are really opening for a myriad of blends and tobaccos, and not just Habanos, but now these new worlds. And I got to tell you, the new world really is kicking ass. Okay, it really is kicking ass. So if you guys haven't tried it, and nothing, and if you enjoy your Habanos, please enjoy your Habanos. I have one every now and then too. When I'm here in the States, you're not supposed to have them. Okay, but yeah, just enjoy the product. Okay, be responsible about it, and share. You know what? Share a stick or two every now and then. I think that's fun when you share cigars with people. Just, here you go. Oh, dude, man, this is awesome. So yeah, that's really it. have a good spirit about it.
Wonderful. Eddie,
So,
thank you so much. What a pleasure
Thank you.
and joy it was. You have a wonderful event. Say our
Thank
blessings
you.
to all the folks attending your wonderful cigar event right now. And
Mhm.
to all of you folks, we'll be back next week. We have Jeff Borshowitz lining up for another inspiring show about
I was
Florida's
just at the store a few
homegrown.
days ago.
Fabulous.
All right, guys. Thank you very much
Thank you
for
so
everything. Y'all
much.
take
And all
care.
the best to you. Light them up. Take care.
Likewise.
Thank you
Goodbye.
so
See ya.
much, guys. Thank you, guys. Have a great evening, man.
Cool.
Thank you.